My name is Diana Páez Pachón. I am a craftswoman of the municipality of Fúquene. I conform the green business, of my company, of my municipality and of the Laguna Fúquene. I work with the craftswomen of the municipality of Fúquene. My partner is called Anelda. She elaborates the products that are the chinas or zapateras that we call, and I dedicate myself then to the elaboration and sale of the handmade products.
Me dedico más que todo a hacer ya pues diseños exclusivos, le genero empleo a madres cabeza de familia. Mi negocio verde pues depende.
My green business depends on the raw material, the reed and the bulrush. The reed is cut in the Laguna Fúquene. A process of cut selection is made and it lasts 20 days in the lagoon.
Y dura dentro de la laguna 20 días.
I started to like handicrafts because I saw my grandparents, my grandfather cutting reeds and bulrushes, in the Laguna Fúquene. He is 94 years old. Of course he does not cut, but I learned from them, from my grandfather, my grandmother, my mother. They taught me everything about how to make a reed and a mat. Initially we started making the mats. The mat is made like a china mat. They would leave us a small mat, we call it. And that is how we learned. He would start and I would say to my grandfather, let me, or I would say to my mother, let me make a little piece of reed. They would leave us a little sow, we call it, and that's how we learned. He would start and I would tell my grandfather to let me, or I would tell my mother, to let me make a little piece of mat, so I could learn. My mother and my grandfather taught me generally by making the mats and the reeds, and later I realized how they made the reeds and the same thing. One is curious as a child, because I learned by making the reeds with my grandfather, with my mother. Initially we only made reeds and mats, which was the only basis of sustenance for the family. My grandfather fished, cut the reeds and took the material to the house. My grandmother sold it in the Ubate Square. My mother has been working in the Ubate Square for 45 years, still selling her reeds and mats. From there we come from my great-grandmother's cradle. From the cradle we come from my grandmother, my mother and I, my children who are also learning. The youth almost don't like this subject, but there are some who do it. There are others who don't. Most of us work with mothers who are heads of family. Just like that she makes her chinas. It is a means of support that they need to maintain themselves, to sustain themselves, because it doesn't give us much income, but it helps us to make life a little easier.
De pronto ellos necesitan pues para mantenerse, porque sostenerse, porque tampoco no es que de mucho ingreso, pero sí nos ayuda a facilitar un poco la vida.
My grandfather told us that more or less from about 70 to 80 years ago, they began. The reed and bulrush was not totally here. They brought it from the savannah of Bogota. Initially all that is now the toll of the entrance of Bogota. They went and cut the reed and bulrush, because here there was not enough material to weave. They would go and cut and gather around there. 5 to 10 people would cut it, let it dry, and then they would bring it in trucks. When the reeds and bulrushes continued to grow here in the lagoon, the more they were cut, the more they continued to grow, but then they had to maintain the plant where it grew. The plant is cut. The first thing to look at is how the sector is. If it is very waterlogged, it is cut and cleaned.
Entonces se
The
hace el
process of
proceso de
cleaning is
limpiar.
done.
Si de
If
pronto
suddenly
hay
there is a bird
un
nest,
nido de
that
aves o
part is
esto,
not
pues esa
touched.
parte no se toca. Si siguen otro más
It is
adelantico,
continued further
o más a
on,
la
or
orilla,
more to the
o
shore,
más
or more
al
to the
fondo de
bottom
la
of the
laguna,
lagoon,
más
further into
adentro
the
de la
lagoon.
laguna,
There it
y
is
ya
being
ahí se
cut.
va
Inside the
cortando.
lagoon it takes
Dentro de la
20 to a
laguna dura
month to
20
dry.
a un mes el secado. Entonces, o sea, si
If
nosotros
we see
vemos,
the reed and the inia
el
is
junco y la
green,
inia es
green,
verde, verde.
then when it is
Entonces,
cut it
al
is
tema
necessary
de
to make a
cortar,
little
toca
bed,
hacerle la camita y dejarlo secar dentro de la laguna.
and let it
A lo
dry
que ya está
inside the
seco,
lagoon.
ya
Once it
uno
is
lo
dry,
va
one
mirando
looks
por
at it
ahí
about 3
1,
times a
2, 3
week and
veces a la
sees how the
semana, ve y
reed
mira
is.
cómo está el
It is
fruto.
more or
Si
less
ya está
yellow,
más o
one
menos
goes
amarillo,
around and dries it and
lo
carries
va
it to the shore
manoseando
of the
y
lagoon
lo
and takes
seca
it
y
to
lo
the
carga
house.
hacia la orilla de la laguna. Y ya lo lleva y lo transporta hacia la casa. Ya después de que esté así amarillito como estamos acá
Already after it becomes
trabajándolo,
yellowish,
entonces,
as we are
después de que
working
esté
on it
así
here,
secado,
after it is dry,
entonces
we clean
lo
it, we
limpiamos, lo
select it and we keep it.
seleccionamos
If the rain
y
catches it,
ya lo vamos
it damages
guardando,
it.
porque
We
si la
keep it,
lluvia lo coge,
we
pues
cover it
lo
with
va a dañar
plastic or
pronto
put it under the
nuevamente.
roof.
Entonces, no, lo guardamos, lo tampamos con plásticos o lo metemos debajo de techo que no le vaya a
So
dar
that it
pues,
won't get rained on
la
again.
lluvia
That's when we
nuevamente.
start. That's when
Y
we
ya
choose
sí,
the
ahí
type of
comenzamos, ya
basket,
es
the
cuando
type of product we are going to
elegimos
make.
el tipo de canasto o de producto que vamos a hacer. Si queremos hacer
If we want to make
anchetas, si queremos
ancheta,
hacer
if we want
chinas,
to make china,
queremos
if we
hacer,
want to make a
canastos
wardrobe
ropero
basket
como
like this
este,
one, depending
ya
on what we
dependiendo lo que necesitamos o lo
need
que
or
el
what the
cliente
client
desee
wants to
llevarse.
take,
Entonces,
we look at what is
miramos qué
being
es lo que
offered the
más se
most and we
está
elaborate it.
ofertando y lo vamos elaborando. ¿Qué cosas novedosas hemos tenido? Pues
What new things
después
have we
del
had?
junco y la inea,
After
pues
the
los
reed and the
canastos.
bulrush, the
El Sena hace
baskets,
muchos
the Sena
años
many years
vino
ago
y
came and gave them
le
some
dio pues
practices to
unas
innovate new
prácticas
products.
para que
It was with the
innovaran
baskets.
productos nuevos. Entonces ya fue con los
For example,
canastos.
the
Ya
innovation
por
goes in
ejemplo
each
ya la
person.
innovación
For
va en
example,
cada
I
persona. Por
invented the
ejemplo,
cat
yo
carrier,
me inventé
or the
la
igloo
gatera.
that we call for the house of the
Entonces ya
dogs,
o
the
los
kittens,
iglús que
the
llamamos
birds. It
para
will
la
depend
casa de
on
los
each
perritos,
person
los
what they want to
gaticos,
innovate and
las
invent.
aves. Entonces ya depende de cada persona lo que quiera innovar e inventar. Digamos, este
The
canasto va
basket
natural,
is natural,
pero si
but if we
queremos
want to add a
agregarle
board or a basket cloth, we
tabla
do it,
o
and if we don't,
canudillo
we leave it.
o cabulla, pues lo hacemos. Y si no lo dejamos natural, que
Natural,
generalmente
because
al
generally
cliente
the
le gusta
client
son
likes
cosas
natural
naturales,
things,
sin tantas,
without so many
sin
things
tantas
around.
cosas alrededor. Como negocio
As a
verde, llegué
green
a
business, I
constituirme,
got to be constituted, training myself,
capacitándome,
having good practices of reed and bulrush
teniendo
and taking
buenas
care of it.
prácticas del junco y la inea, cuidándolo también porque
Because if
pues,
we
si
do
nosotros
not
no
take care
cuidamos
of this
este
material,
material,
is
pues, se va a
exhausted.
agotar. Es una
It is a
fibra
natural
natural
fiber.
que
To
la-
enter the
que,
lagoon is to have a
al
kind of
entrar a la
respect.
laguna es tener como un respeto porque
Why?
si nosotros
If
no
we do
cuidamos
not
lo que
take care of
tenemos,
what we have,
entonces
it
es
is a
un
little
poco difícil.
difficult.
El hecho de que ya
The
estemos
fact that we are already
cortando
cutting
una
a plant,
planta que es
which is
natural,
natural,
que la tenemos dentro, tenemos la
we are
fortuna de
fortunate to
tenerla
have it in the
acá en la
Fúquene
laguna de
lagoon.
Fúquene.
Years ago
Anteriormente,
there was
años
not,
atrás
but
no la
now we
había,
have it.
pero ahorita sí la tenemos y que
We
pues
have taken care of
la
it.
hemos
We have
cuidado,
gone
hemos
out.
salido
We have cleaned it. We have tried not to let it run out.
limpiándola. Hemos tratado de que no se vaya a agotar tampoco porque cuando hay
Because when it doesn't rain
temporada
much,
seca,
the plant doesn't
cuando
get
no llueve
enough
mucho,
water.
pues
It gets
la planta
damaged.
no
It
coge
dies
la
out.
suficiente agua y pues se va dañando, se va apocando. Y ya
And
digamos
the
en el
cut we
corte
made
que
in
hicimos,
January or
digamos en
February,
enero,
there is no
febrero ya no
more.
hay.
We are
Ya
going to
vamos a
look at
mirar
it
en
in
6
6
meses y
months
ya
and the
la
matica
matica
is lost. There
se
was
perdió,
no
no hubo abundancia de agua,
abundance of water. It didn't
no
grow
volvió a
again.
crecer.
Me siento feliz
I am
trabajar
happy to
porque me
work
encanta mucho la
because I love
artesanía.
crafts, we have
Tenemos
enough to
para
eat, to pay
comer,
for
para pagar
services,
servicios,
to
salir
go
a
for
pasear.
walks. I am from here in
Yo
the
soy de
Laguna
acá de la
Fúquene,
Laguna
del
Fúquene del
Roble.
Roble. Diana es una gran
Diana is a
amiga que
great
nos
friend
ayuda,
who
nos
helps
apoya,
us,
muchas
supports us,
señoras que
teaches us to
nos
work.
enseña a
We
trabajar.
each work in a
Nosotros
house and we
trabajamos
bring
cada
to the
uno en una
business
casa
that
y le
buys
llevamos
us.
al negocio
Since
que
we
nos
were
compra.
11 years
Desde
old,
los
we
11
started
años
to work,
comenzamos a
many
trabajar.
years ago.
Hace muchos años.
Con el cuidado y con
With the care
el
and with the
temporado
rainy
de
season,
lluvia.
we
Si-
make only
si
2
estamos
cuts in a
en
year.
lluvia, o sea, no
Why?
hacemos sino 2 cortes en el año. ¿Por qué? Porque cuando
Because
hay
when there is a
abundante
lot
de
of
lluvia,
rain, you
entonces
can't
no se
cut,
puede
the
cortar,
water
o sea,
level
el
rises.
nivel del
It is
agua
much more
sube,
difficult
es
to
mucho más
access the
difícil el
entrance to the
acceso a
lagoon.
entrar a la
It is
laguna.
only in the dry
Entonces
season.
solamente toca en temporada seca. En esos
In
dos
those
cortes,
2
pues,
cuts,
hay-
we
hay
have to
que
take
aprovechar
advantage of the
de
fact
que,
that the cut that is made
el
lasts
corte que
20
se haga
days,
dure
a month,
20 días, un
sometimes
mes,
even a
a veces
month and a
hasta
half
mes y medio,
depending on the
dependiendo
reed,
el
how
jugo
green it
cómo
is,
esté de-
how
de
thick or
verde
how
o de
long it
soft,
is.
o de largo. Pues nosotros
Well,
tenemos los
we
moldes,
have the
¿sí?
molds,
En
whether they are
cerámica,
made of rod or
de
wood, the
madera.
reed has to be cleaned,
Entonces,
dried,
el jugo
stored,
toca
and when it is ready to be
limpiarlo,
used again,
secarlo,
it has to be
guardarlo,
wet.
y al momento de volver a elaborar toca mojarlo. Entonces, ¿por qué? Porque
Why?
si está muy durito, entonces
Because
no
if
se
it
deja
is very
manejar.
hard, it is not easy to handle, it is necessary that the material is a little softer, that it is already clean. When it is clean, a little bit easier to handle the different types of molds, be it square or
De
oval,
molde, ya sea cuadrado, ovalado, sea la
be it the
línea, sea
china,
los juncos,
be it
sea
the
las
reeds
esteras.
or the
Entonces,
mats,
para
for
todo
all
tipo
types of
de
elaboration, it is
elaboración de
always
moldes,
necessary
siempre
to
hay
wet
que
the
mojar el
reed.
junco. A medida que nosotros vamos
As we are
elaborando el
elaborating the
producto,
product, one is playing, one already knows more or less that reeds are going, whether 5, 10 reeds, one generally does not count it because one already knows when to add. The longer the reed is much better because it lasts longer, holds more, to give the turns to the product.
En cambio, si es más
Instead,
cortico,
if
pues
it is
toca cada
shorter,
ratico
it is
colocar y
necessary to
colocar
place
para-
and place to
para
make
que
the
quede
basket.
más. Entonces, y ya,
Then,
entre más
the
largo,
longer
mejor.
the better, and
Y ojalá,
hopefully
si
if
es
it
para
is for a
canasto
large
grande,
basket it has
tiene
to be
que ser
hard or
un
verudo
poco
reed,
varudo.
if it
Si
is.
es para la china, sí toca
For the
un poco
china
de
and it
blando,
has to be a very soft
porque, pues,
reed, because the
el
soft
blando
one
se
is
deja
easier
manejar
to
más
handle
para
for the
la
china,
china, las
the
esteras,
mats and it is easier to handle.
y pues es más fácil de manejarlo. En cambio, para un producto
On the other
grande como
hand, for a
este,
large product
toca
like
que el jugo
this,
sea
the
bien
reed
fresco
has to be very
y
thick,
durito
hard, to
para que
withstand the
aguante la
resistance at the
resistencia.
time of
En el
removing
momento
the
de
mold
sacar el
that the
molde, que
basket will
el
not be
canasto no se
damaged.
vaya a
What
dañar,
is flaccid
no
is not
quede
very soft.
flácido, no quede muy blandito. Pues esto viene de cuna.
This comes
Esto
from the cradle,
nace,
this is born,
nace,
it
lo
motivates you when you see a
Cuando uno ve
child
un
that you
hijo que
like,
le gusta,
you
entonces
say,
uno, venga,
come,
venga,
I
le
will
enseño,
teach you,
entonces venga,
come and learn.
Sí, hay muchos chicos del
There are
colegio
children
que
from the school that
me
have
han
called me,
llamado,
including
que
schools
como
from Zipaquirá, from
inclusive
Kajika,
colegios
from
de
many
Zipaquirá,
regions that
de
want to come and
Cajicá,
see how the
de
process
muchas
is,
regiones que ellos quieren venir a mirar cómo es el proceso de las
from the
universidades,
universities because they
porque
like
les
it.
gusta, o
There are
sea,
many that are
hay
about to
muchos
graduate.
que ya
They
están para
say,
graduarse.
my
Bueno,
topic, my
mi
thesis,
tema,
is about the
gradué
process of reed
de
and
hacer
bull
una
rush.
tesis sobre el
Several have
proceso
already
de
come.
Fúquene, y ya han venido varios. Acá hay niños que ya desde
And
los
here
5
there are
años
children
están
who from the
haciendo
age of
canastos,
5 are
están
already
haciendo,
making baskets.
chinas,
They are
inclusive
making
le ayudan a
chinas,
enhebrar
they
a un
even help one to
canasto.
make a basket.
Entonces ya
Generally it is by birth.
generalmente
But one
eso
also
es,
motivates them.
se nace,
If they like
es
it,
de nacimiento.
one motivates them, one
Pero
teaches
también
them.
uno los motiva. Si a ellos les gusta, pues uno les motiva, les enseña y los va practicando. Entonces de ahí.
The work that CR is doing here is extracting all the vegetal material with the machinery, the amphibious and terrestrial machinery, trying to clean it, as much as possible, the navigation, the fishing, everything related to the artisans. This what is the vegetal material, what doesn't let the artisans progress, the moment in which they suddenly need a collaboration of the company, it is always there with them. It is the same thing, they need a favor of the craftsman and they collaborate us, it is the same thing, with them there is no problem, this is a single family, craftsman, CR and work.
Pues a ferias, en el tema que duramos de la pandemia no hubo, pero pues ahorita nuevamente se está mirando la comercialización.
We do it on the side of the road.
A la orilla de la carretera. Cada negocio
Each
que hay
business here in
acá en
Fúquene represents a sector or a group of family.
un grupo de familia. Entonces, digamos,
My business
familia,
represents the family
mi
group
negocio
Páez,
representa
Pachón or
el grupo de
Rodriguez,
familia Páez,
depending,
Pachón
it is
o
done
Rodríguez,
directly on the
¿sí?
road.
Entonces, se hace directamente pues sobre la vía y uno, si hay ferias,
If
pues,
there
lo
are
invitan a
fairs,
ferias, uno
they
va a
invite
feria,
you
les
to a
enseña el
fair, you
proceso,
teach
ya
them the
los
process,
productos,
you take the
y los
products in commercial,
comercializan,
and
y
if
si no,
not
pues
directly on the
directamente
side of the road,
a la orilla
you
de la
find all the
carretera encuentra
business.
todos los negocios. Sí, pues por ejemplo, hay clientes que
There are
llegan y me
customers who
dicen,
come and tell
"No,
me,
yo quiero
I want a
un
type of
tipos
lamps
de
inside the
lámparas,
reed want it or
entonces lo
want it
quiero
in
en
line,
rojo o lo
which
quiero en
takes more
neón,
with the decor of the place.
lleva más con
Come
la
and tell you
decoración
better go to
del
Summers,
lugar".
look at the business
Entonces
and
llegan
tell
y me
me
dicen,
or
"No,
advise
mejor
me
vaya
which
a almacén,
decoration
mira
goes
el
more.
negocio y me dice o me asesora cuál decoración va más". También se está trabajando mucho que
They are also
para los
working a lot
hoteles
what for
se está
hotels.
trabajando unos redondos.
They are
Entonces
working
los
some
redondos
rounds.
se colocan en el
The
piso
rounds are
y van
placed on the
para
floor and go
para
for
los hoteles,
hotels,
tanto
country
de cafés
hotels, for green
para
businesses
los
also.
verdes también. Entonces va
It goes to
uno,
one
mira
looks and
y
looks at the
mira las
dimensions of what
dimensiones
needs to be
de lo
done
que
and
hay que
takes
hacer
measurements.
y toma medidas y ya. Ya
Tells
le
them
llega
this
el
is what
peso,
is
lo que se
needed,
necesita,
curtains or is
cortinas,
needed for the
o se
floor or
necesita
lamp,
para el
but it
piso o
usually
la
goes to the
lámpara.
taste of the customer.
Pero ya va generalmente al gusto del cliente. Lo que más les gusta
What
ahorita a
customers
los
like the
clientes
most right
es los
now is the
iglús, las
igloos,
casas
the
para los
houses,
gatos,
for
para los
cats, for
perros.
dogs.
Los
Customers
clientes
are very fond of
consienten
animals.
mucho los animalitos, entonces ellos dicen
They
no
say
para mi
no for my
gatito, o
kitten
para
or
el
for the
perrito,
dog, they say
o
no, I
ya
want it for a
dicen
hotel.
no, es que lo quiero para un hotel. Entonces
They need
necesitan
waste baskets or
papeleras
magazine
o
racks.
revisteros. Entonces ya
Depending
va
on the
dependiendo
customer.
al cliente.
We
También se
also
le
make
hace,
exclusive
digamos,
designs. They
diseños
say no,
exclusivos.
I want to
Dicen, no, yo lo
personalize it
quiero
and I don't want it to be the
personalizado,
same
no
as
quiero que
the
sea igual a
others.
los demás.
We also make the
También se
product
les
for
hace el
them.
producto,
We
se
make the
les
product
elabora
for
el
them.
producto. De nacimiento.
From
Me
birth
gustó,
I
yo
liked it,
estudié,
I studied, I did
hice
other
otros
courses,
cursos,
I went out,
salí,
I lived
viví en
in Bogota
Bogotá,
and I
y
wasn't
no,
very
me
interested in
llamaba mucho
arts
la
and
atención la
crafts, and the
artesanía, la
truth
verdad.
is,
Eso uno como que nace. O sea, a mí me fascina estar
I love being
con
alone
mi
with my
gente,
people,
estar
being
acá
here
en
in Fúquene,
Fúquene.
living here in the countryside is very
O
nice.
sea, el vivir acá en el campo es muy bonito. Yo creo que es la
I
experiencia
think it's
más,
the
más
most
hermosa que
beautiful
uno puede
experience one can
tiene
live. It's
tranquilidad,
peaceful, you do things
hace
with
las
pleasure,
cosas con
with
agrado,
love,
con
and it's a
cariño.
pleasure. That's your
Y es un
taste.
gusto.
Whether
Eso ya
one has studied other
uno,
things,
así
but
uno
it
haya
fascinates
estudiado
me.
otras cosas,
I really like arts
me
and
fascina.
crafts.
O sea, a mí me gusta mucho la artesanía.
The products are very good, they are new, there are more designs. If we go to any part of the country, to any region, there will always be a detail, a basket. We'll have a magazine rack. In a home, if there will be a wheelbarrow, a vase, Fúquene or some crafts, then it has achieved much, has changed a lot because trade.
Lo de de Fúquene son las artesanías.
But still this is the most beautiful
Se ha
thing we could
valorado
have.
mucho, ha cambiado mucho, pues, el comercio,
The crafts of
pero
Fúquene,
igual,
and I think that in all parts of
lo
the
más
country
bonito
knows
que
it.
hemos podido tener. La artesanía de Fúquene, y yo creo que en toda parte del país la conoce.
From the experience that I have had, it has been very nice. I invite all the boys, the children, who are growing up, who are studying, that craftsmanship is a very good product, that it is from the heart, it is from love, it is to love your town, your homeland. If we value what we have around us, it would be very good. We would not have to leave Colombia. Why? Because if we value the reed, the bulrush, our products, our agriculture, our things that we have in our hands, we would not have to emigrate to other parts. I invite all the young people, all the children, who are interested that we are here in Fúquene, to offer them to teach them and to take a souvenir from here. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.